When you operate payment processing workloads across multiple AWS accounts following PCI DSS guidance, you traditionally need to duplicate cryptographic key material in each account. This duplication makes it harder to track key lineage and maintain consistent access controls. With cross-account key sharing through resource-based policies, you can now maintain a single copy of each cryptographic key and share it across accounts. You define per-resource access control policies that specify which accounts can access each key, eliminating the need for import/export workflows. This approach works for both internal accounts within your organization and external accounts, giving you the flexibility to manage cryptographic operations at scale while maintaining compliance with PCI PIN security and P2P requirements. Model customization requires you to frame use case goals, prepare data, select models, configure experiments, analyze results, and deploy cost efficiently while managing infrastructure setup. This process typically takes months. SageMaker AI now provides an agentic experience that reduces this timeline to days or hours. You can customize models using natural language interactions with coding agents like Kiro, Claude Code, and Copilot to streamline the entire workflow from use case definition to production. The agent skills handle data transformation, quality evaluation using LLM as a judge metrics, and generate reusable code artifacts for transparency and automation. You can deploy customized models to Amazon Bedrock or SageMaker endpoints based on your requirements. Install the agent skills in your IDE using the SageMaker AI plugin or use pre-installed skills in SageMaker Studio notebooks. The experience supports techniques like supervised fine-tuning, direct preference optimization, and reinforcement learning for model families including Amazon Nova, Llama, Quinn, and GPT-OSS. When working with databases, you often need to store both structured relational data and semi-structured data like API responses or configuration objects together. Previously, Aurora DSQL lacked native JSON support, requiring workarounds that complicated migrations and development workflows. Aurora DSQL now supports the PostgreSQL JSON data type with compression. You can store semi-structured data using PostgreSQL JSON type directly in your tables. You can use existing PostgreSQL JSON tools without modification, enabling seamless migration of applications. The system compresses JSON payloads automatically to reduce storage costs, with compression enabled by default. You can store API payloads, configs, and event logs in tables alongside your relational data, enabling flexible schema designs without sacrificing query performance or storage efficiency. Event-driven applications require visibility into event bus activity for security auditing, operational troubleshooting, governance, and compliance. Previously, you could only track EventBridge control plane APIs in CloudTrail, leaving gaps in your audit trail for data plane operations. You can now log put events API calls to CloudTrail, capturing when events are published to your event buses. You can track requester identity and IP addresses for each API call, enabling you to identify who sent events and when. You configure logging via CloudTrail console or APIs by enabling it on your event bus. This capability is available across all AWS commercial and government regions, giving you consistent audit capabilities regardless of where your event buses run. Creating dashboards in Amazon QuickSight traditionally requires hours of manual configuration, including selecting visualizations, configuring filters, and creating calculated fields. Generate Analysis addresses this by enabling you to create dashboards from natural language descriptions. You describe your dashboard requirements in natural language prompts, such as requesting sales performance with revenue trends and regional comparisons. You select up to 3 datasets and review an editable plan before generation begins. Amazon QuickSight then generates organized sheets with visuals selected for your data, filter controls for exploring dimensions, and calculated fields like year-over-year growth. The generated dashboards integrate with your existing publishing workflows, embedding capabilities, and C/CD pipelines, reducing dashboard creation time from hours to minutes. This capability is available to Enterprise Subscription and Author Pro users, with promotional access for authors through December 2026. Organizations need to analyze data stored in lakehouse architectures without building complex data pipelines or maintaining separate analytics layers. QuickSight now supports S3 table buckets as a direct data source, allowing you to query Apache Iceberg tables stored in your lakehouse. You can build dashboards without intermediate data warehouses or OLAP layers, simplifying your data architecture for both AI and BI workloads. You can leverage zero ETL integrations from sources like Salesforce, SAP, and Kinesis Data Firehose to get near real-time insights with minimal pipeline dependencies. Admins configure S3 table bucket permissions once, then authors can immediately create datasets and start building. You can use natural language Q&A through Dataset Q&A to ask questions and get answers grounded in your data lake as the source of truth. This feature is available in all AWS regions where QuickSight operates. You need to enable business users to explore enterprise data without SQL knowledge while maintaining governance controls. Dataset Q&A addresses this by allowing you to ask natural language questions directly against your datasets. You can ask questions against data in Spice, Amazon Redshift, Amazon Athena, Aurora PostgreSQL, and Apache Iceberg tables in S3 table buckets, with the text-to-SQL agent generating engine-specific optimized queries. You can enrich datasets with custom instructions, business definitions, and field descriptions that feed into a knowledge graph, helping the orchestrator identify relevant datasets and generate accurate SQL. The feature handles trend analysis, time series comparisons, ranking, multi-condition queries, and exploratory questions while respecting row-level and column-level security policies. You can use the explain capability to review the reasoning behind each answer, inspect the underlying logic, and validate that the generated SQL correctly interprets your question before taking action on the results. When you need to scale your SQL Server database storage beyond the limits of a single volume while maintaining read replicas for workload distribution or disaster recovery, traditional configurations force you to choose between storage capacity and replication capabilities. You can now create read replicas for RDS for SQL Server instances that use additional storage volumes, allowing you to scale storage up to 256 TB by adding up to 3 additional volumes of 64 TB each beyond the primary volume. You can deploy these read replicas in the same region or across regions to support your availability and latency requirements. The replica preserves the storage layout of the source instance during creation, and afterward you can manage storage volume configurations independently on the source and replica instances. This feature is available in all AWS commercial regions and AWS GovCloud US regions through the AWS Management Console, AWS CLI, or AWS SDKs. Previously, adding even a single new record to AWS Entity Resolution required reprocessing your entire dataset, a process that could take up to 2 days and cost thousands of dollars. This created a bottleneck that forced you to seek workarounds or alternative solutions. With incremental ML-based matching workflows, you can now process only the new records added since your last workflow run. You can complete 1M record updates in under 1 hour, achieving a 95% reduction in processing time while reducing infrastructure costs. You can support up to 50M incremental records per workflow and scale across datasets containing up to 1 billion base records. This makes AWS Entity Resolution viable for continuous, large-scale enterprise workloads that were previously unfeasible. You can start using incremental ML workflows in all AWS regions where AWS Entity Resolution is available. When you manage multiple log groups across environments, you need to explicitly list each log group name when running queries in CloudWatch Logs Insights. This becomes difficult to maintain as your infrastructure grows and log groups are added or removed. You can now query log groups using tags, which are key value pairs like environment, production or application, payment service. When you query by tags, the system automatically includes all log groups that match the tag criteria. As you add or remove tags from log groups, Your queries dynamically reflect the current set of matching log groups without requiring manual updates. This capability is available in all commercial AWS regions.